Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses, and in this video we'll be discussing Solomon's Temple. Solomon's Temple, or the perfected temple of the human body, the perfected temple of the universe, and the perfected temple of the soul, finally forms the perfect shrine for the living ark. Thus, this glorious edifice, which is Solomon's Temple, was the chef d'oeuvre of both lines, an embodiment of the sublime spirituality of the churchmen, the sons of Seth, combined with the superlative skill of the craftsmen, the sons of Cain. Each stem of life, which is either the sons of Cain or the sons of Seth, flows onward side by side till a time comes when the wise and loving ones guiding the evolution decide that to hasten progress it is necessary that the two unite, and plan that this shall be accomplished by the building of a temple for the worshippers by the craftsmen, and that both streams would unite in a mystical molten sea. The later Jewish high priest constructed the allegory of Solomon's Temple, a building which never had a real existence, any more than had King Solomon himself, who is simply and as much a solar myth as is the later Hiram Abiff of the Masons, as Ragon has well demonstrated. Thus, if the measurements of this allegorical temple, the symbol of the cycle of initiation, coincide with those of the Great Pyramid, it is due to the fact that the former was derived from the latter through the Tabernacle of Moses. This temple, that of the Dionysians, was human society perfected, and each enlightened and perfected human being was a true stone for its building. From the cosmic angle or viewpoint, we note again that Solomon's Temple is the solar universe, and Hiram Abiff, the Grand Master, is the sun which travels around the 12 signs of the zodiac. The true Temple of Solomon is the universe, the solar man's temple, which is slowly being rebuilt in man as the temple of the soul of man. King Solomon began the building of the temple in the 4th year of his reign, on what would be, according to modern calculation, the 21st day of April, and finished it in the 11th year of his reign on the 23rd day of October. The Temple of Solomon is our solar universe, which forms the great school of life for our evolving humanity. The broad lines of that history, past, present, and future, is written in the stars, its broad outlines being discernible to anyone of average intelligence. In the microcosmic scheme, the Temple of Solomon is also the body of man, wherein the individual spirit or ego is evolving as God is in the great universe. Sol-Am-On represents the name of deity in 3 languages, and the biblical history is an allegory or myth of the sun god. The Temple of Solomon is really the temple of the solar man, Sol-Am-On, the king of the universe, manifested through his 3 primordial builders. The true meaning of the Temple of Solomon is the Temple of the Sun. Sol, and On are all words for the sun. Sol is the Latin word for the sun and is close to the English word soul. Is the name given by the Hindus to the spiritual sun, and On is an Egyptian word for sun. The symbolism of the Temple of Solomon was stolen by the Jews and made into a fictitious character, as with the fictitious Nazarene and nearly everything in the Judeo-Christian Bible. The true meaning of the Temple of the Sun is spiritual. This symbolizes the perfected soul, where the rays from the heart chakra, which is the center of the soul and circulates spiritual energy, radiates into 8 separate rays. The shining soul is symbolized by the sun. 8 is the number of Ashtoreth. This is also the New Jerusalem. The name of Jerusalem has also been stolen and corrupted into a city in Israel. Jerusalem is a concept. The demon Asmodeus, custodian of secrets, guardian of hidden treasures, and according to ancient Judaic legend, builder of Solomon's temple. The all-seeing eye, the symbol of the supreme being, the great architect of the universe, because it appears on every US $1 bill above a topless pyramid, a Masonic symbol for the unfinished Temple of Solomon. Plans of the temple, taken from The Origin of Freemasonry and Knights Templar, page 48. According to Playfair's chronology, the Temple of Solomon was begun in 1016 and finished in 1008. Freemasonry, its central identification is with the construction of the Temple of Solomon. Hiram or Chiram, or the universal agent, assisted King Solomon to build the temple. No doubt, as Solomon possessed wisdom, he understood what to do with the corporalized universal agent. The Talmud of the Jews says that King Solomon built the temple by the assistance of Shamir. Now this word signifies the sun, which is perpetually collecting the omnipresent surrounding electrical fire or spiritus mundi and sending it to us in the planets in a visible manner called light. Hiram Abiff was the architect of King Solomon's temple, who is murdered by 3 ruffians during an unsuccessful attempt to force him to divulge the Master Mason's secret password, Mahabon. The first Temple of Solomon stood for 33 years in its pristine splendor. The real temple, referred to from first to last in Masonry, as in all ancient initiations, is the tabernacle of the human soul. Every master was the widow's son. He was the continuation of the master line that had apparently been broken with the death of the first Grand Master, Hiram Abiff. In the initiation drama, he had been assigned the role of Hiram Abiff, whose mantle thus assumed became the central feature of the candidate's role in the secret society. In the same role, he would later emulate Abiff, who had died rather than give up the secrets of the Master Mason. In that role, he would thwart the efforts of the attack by 3 assassins who had wanted those secrets badly enough to kill, not caring that the murder of Hiram Abiff meant an end to the building of the unfinished temple. To the mystic Christian Mason, Chiram represents the Christ who in 3 days or degrees raised the temple of his body from its earthly sepulchre. His 3 murderers were Caesar's agent, which is the state, the Sanhedrin, which are the church, and the incited populace, which is the mob. The widow's son, Hiram-Abiff of Tyre, cast from the Kabbalistic temple of King Solomon, 2 high pillars, or pylons of bronze. Their capitals were pomegranates and lily work. The lily, most likely the lotus, an emblem of life, white or male. On the right side, the pomegranate, the emblem of fecundity and plasticity, red or female. On the left, the first was called Yakin, the latter Boaz. These columns represented understanding, Benahah, H, and wisdom, Hokmah, V, and between them was the temple of Kether, Y, the Father. Here we see symbols of the former, the harmony, and the to-be form. All energy must have resistance, all light must have darkness, and all projecture or emanation, a hollow or excavation to receive a flux. Affirmation supposes a negation. If the first androgen had not been separated into male and female, the result would have been entire sterility, as was the result as the 7 kings of Edom described in Genesis and the Kabbalah. And the balance not existing, the forms did not and could not exist, and the emanation of the existences could not proceed and be manifest. The meaning of the broken column as explained by the ritual of the Master Mason degree is that the column represents both the fall of Master Hiram-Abiff as well as the unfinished work of the Temple of Solomon. The broken column represents the unfinished temple, as well as the unfinished life and task of Hiram-Abiff. After Hiram was pulled from the grave by King Solomon, he was buried beneath, sometimes near, the Sanctum Sanctorum of the temple, which was being built to house and honor the Ark of the Covenant. Hiram, legendary master craftsman at the building of the Temple of Solomon, about whom the initiate has yet been told nothing, and whom Masons identify with the metal worker that scriptures describe as a son of a widow of Naphtali. The same idea is maintained in the construction of Masonic lodges, which are but imitations in spirit of the ancient temples. Why the Temple of Solomon was exclusively selected by the modern Masons as the incunabulum of their order can be only conjecturally accounted for. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.